I had 2 t-shirts. And now I have a purse. How did 2 t-shirts become this purse, you may ask? Was it magic? Was it skill? Was it both? Let's find out. So here are my shirts. We've got the fish shirt. This one is more of like a t-shirt dress. And the fish are like a puffy paint. And then this one is what I'm going to use for the inside of the bag, and it is an old tie-dye. So here are my pattern pieces. I pretty much just traced out onto a woodman's bag what I thought I wanted it to be, like the dimensions, and then I tested it out and it worked out fine. So yeah, I decided to roll with it. So we've got our panels traced in chalk, and then I'm going to salvage these fish here on the side also. And now I am cutting apart my shirt that's going to be the lining and tessellating my pieces to make sure that I've got enough fabric for everything. So you'll see me kind of shifting things around and adjusting, and then eventually cutting stuff out. Yep, there we go, we're cutting out. Looks like that is the bottom panel of the bag. And then I'll need a front and a back. 2 pieces that are the same for the front and the back of the bag. And then this is the little flappy bit that goes on top to close everything. And then I'm also doing a strip of this fabric on the strap of the bag. So it'll be black on one side, and then the other side will have this tie-dye on the strap too. So I'm cutting out as many pieces as I need. I ended up just cutting little strips and then sewing them all together to get the correct length. Ooh, okay, now we've got our fish dress. So I cut it open and cutting out the pieces that I already traced. So those are the front and the back piece, and then now I am cutting apart the remainder of the fish pieces that I wanted to use. So now it looks like I'm tracing, this would be the bottom panel. So essentially with this purse, I have a front and a back panel, and then I have like a middle section to give it some width so that it's not just a flat bag. So I cut that. What are we doing here? Oh, we got, this is the strap. So I need a long enough piece for this strap. So I am cutting, looks like a couple pieces in order to get enough for my strap. And now, oh, I'm adding a zipper pocket on the inside. So I'm using the remainder of the black fabric to turn that into like the lining of the zipper pocket. So now this is going to be the front flap, the showstopper of the bag. And I wanted to do, let's see, what are we doing? Oh, the fringe, yes. Okay, so, all right, well, here's all the pieces that I've got so far. We've got the front and the back panel. That should be the middle piece, I think. Yeah, so those are the middle, to give it width, the lining pieces. We've got the zipper, the lining of the pocket, looks like those are the strap pieces, and then this little bit here is going to become the front flap. I'm going to do a little collage of the fish, and that is, I don't remember what that is. That must be the lining. Oh no, okay, see, I'm pointing, yep, that is the fringe. I'm gonna add some fringe all along the front flap. So those are pieces to be the bag. Woohoo! We got them all. All right. So now that we got all our pieces, now we're gonna put them all together. So this is the front and the back piece, and then here's that little, I don't know what you call that piece. The piece that makes it wide. Man, I'm just all over the place. Let's see. What are we doing now? Yes, those were the straps. The strap pieces. Okay, now I'm tessellating the extra fish and making the front flap. So I pretty much just cut out the remainder of the chunks that I had left on the fish shirt, and then I ironed down the edges because I knew I was gonna top stitch the edges, and then now I'm just kind of cutting things and trimming it to make it look all beautiful. And then I decided to glue it down with some fabric glue. I will go around and stitch everything. It's just going to be way easier to have everything glued in place. before I go stitching, and then there was these little polka dots on the shirt, so I decided to fill in the rest of the negative space with those polka dots. So cut them out, glued them down, and yeah, so now that's gonna dry. Oh yes, okay, so that is the inner lining is under there also, and then this is the fringe. So when you're cutting out fringe, make sure that you test your fabric, because sometimes when you pull on the strips, it could either be awesome or it could go really bad and just kind of fray and be gross and fall apart. So I tested it to make sure that my strips were gonna work. They did, and then I cut, I marked a 1/4 inch distance at the top and at the bottom and did little hashes and then connected those and cut them. I hope that makes sense. So basically just made a whole bunch of fringe pieces, and then I stitched them together to get the correct length so that it could go all the way around my front flap. This is going to be, I think, the zipper pocket. Is it? We'll find out here in a second if I'm right on that. Yes, okay, so I am cutting about 2 inches down, and this is where I'm going to put my zipper in. So I love when zipper pockets are big enough to actually function and you can fit stuff in them. So I am making this zipper pocket the same dimensions of the bag. So basically just cut and stitched on my zipper here. Yep, we're stitching. I use a zipper foot. Always use a zipper foot when using a zipper. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Okay, we're gonna pause this. Getting a phone call. I'll be back in a second. Okay, phone call over. I am now back to the video. Let's see what we're doing here. So this is the lining of the bag itself. So this part will face the interior of the bag, and then that black fabric is going to be inside of the pouch, or inside of the pocket. Once you open the pocket, you'll see the black fabric. But this is my my private label tags. We gotta represent your brand. Yes. So I screen printed the tags with, I just that can be a whole video in itself, is how I screen printed my tags, but I made those, and so I've got my little tag, pinned it in place, and now I'm just using a zigzag stitch to stitch around my cute little label. Cut off your threads. And now I am pinning together the inside layer of the pocket. So to complete the pocket, you'll need another piece on there. So I attached that, and now I'm stitching it on. Careful with your zipper when you're going over that. You don't want to break needles. So now I'm trimming it up, making it look all pretty. And now I am stitching or pinning. I use binder clips. I don't usually use pins when I'm doing like edge stuff because it's just way easier. Ooh, the serger. Yes. I love my serger. My serger is a new thing that I get to use. Before I just had a sewing machine, which works. You can do a lot with just a sewing machine, but if you've been sewing, upgrade yourself to a serger because it is so nice. So instead of stitching the edges of my things and my stuff, I wouldn't send a zipper through the serger. I did that once and broke a needle and it was really scary, so don't do that. only stitch your soft things. But yeah, so the pieces that I was able to serge, I am now serging, and we're cutting over to, we're stitching around all of my little fish. So this is the front flap of my bag, and you saw me glue them previously, but just to make it look all nice and crispy, I wanted to go through and stitch around them. So I'm using a zigzag stitch and just freehand, just stitching around each one, and that'll secure them really nicely. And yeah. Ooh, okay, so I wanted to sandwich my fringe in between the front layer and the lining layer. This was kind of a pain, but I would say it was worth it. I probably would have, instead of, because right now I'm pinning them both on and then I'm going to stitch them both on, I would have stitched it to the lining first and then added the front flap, or vice versa. I would have attached the fringe to one of them and then went back and stitched on the other layer, because trying to line up the lining, the front, and the fringe perfectly was a bit of a tricky situation. I ended up stitching over it like 3 or 4 times just to like make sure everything was like stitched really nice and secure and all that. So I'll definitely do that differently in the future, but that's what I did. We're learning. I've only made 1 bag before this. I've made a few since, but yeah, I tested out my pattern and then I was like, oh, the fish bag, we're doing it. So now I am pinning the lining inside of the exterior, and then I'm also pinning on the front flap. In between those, again, I would probably stitch it to one or the other. Probably stitch it to the lining first, and then just attach the outer to the inner. And now I'm just doing a little top stitch to attach all of my layers. Yes, okay, so we've got the front flap. Make sure you get the fringe out of the way. I don't want to stitch over your fringe. And then I've got these little tab thingies that I'm going to use for the hardware. Ooh, here's the hardware. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see. I'm going pretty fast here, but basically I had an extra little flap of fabric that I planned for, and I folded it over and stuck a little hardware ring bag thing. I don't know the term for those. I know the term. It's escaped my brain. But it's the little rectangular bag strap thing. So you stitch those on both sides. And ooh, okay, so now these are my pieces that I cut out and stitched together. Oh, I did this so quick. I should have slowed it down just a little bit so I could like explain what I'm doing, but I'll do the next bag I make and show you. I'll do a better job on explaining how I made this strap. But I folded up that piece that I cut out originally into thirds, same with the lining, stitched those together, and now we're adding on the adjuster piece of hardware. And yeah, so I threaded the strap through, and then I'm stitching over it, and then doing the same for, okay, I sped that so fast, but here's my bag, yay! Okay, cool. I'm gonna go in a little bit better of detail next time. We're new to this, we're learning still, but here's how it came out. I love it, it's super funky, so cute, and it has found a home. It is with its forever home. But I had to make a video commemorating this really cool bag because I had a lot of fun making it. It turned out really cool, and I'll definitely be making more bags in this style. You will see some more, and I'll come up with better ideas and different designs and such. More to come, as always. But here is my fish bag. I hope you had fun kind of seeing the little... It was more of a here's what I did rather than a how-to. But... here's how it came out. 2 t-shirts are now a bag. Pretty cool. Got my little label and my little zipper with a big old zipper pocket, yeah. Keep your stuff and your things safe. Cool. So cute. So cute. Oh yeah. Shimmy. Who doesn't love fringe? Let me know in the comments if you don't like fringe, because I love fringe. If you do love fringe, also let me know. I want to know where my fringe lovers at. Fringe will never go out of style for me. Or for anyone. You can wear fringe with anything, for anything, whenever you want. All the time. Fringe is always... it's always okay. If there's any scenario that you can't wear fringe in your opinion, let me know. I want to know, because I could see how you could work fringe into any scenario. Alright, yeah, cool. So, this is it. This is what I did. This is how it came out. I hope you love it. I love it. I'm here for it. And goodbye. Goodbye.